Hey, it's Vanessa, and welcome back to Born to Build the New. In today's episode, we are talking right timing, the concept of right timing. And it is a piggyback episode on the one that was recently released around urgency and how to move the energy of urgency out of your space. So please do look for that episode if you haven't yet listened to it. Before we get into the details for today, as always, I'd love to introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Smith. I'm your host of Born to Build the New, and I'm an energy guide and identity seer. And here we talk about the paradigm shift and your role within the larger collective transformation that's taking place right now. I always record a new introduction every single time. I had my husband recently say, wouldn't it be easier if you just recorded the introduction and had that at the middle? And I don't know about you, but I like to go my own way. And the reason I love to record these introductions fresh, raw, in real time is because every time I do, it becomes more embodied. It's like my own personal elevator speech. It's like I'm just talking to myself here. And every time I talk about Born to Build the New, the concept of that, how it's about this paradigm shift, how you are quite literally wired with gifts and with purpose that is meant to be directed towards building something new, it lights me up everywhere. It makes me feel happy. So it's quite fun for me to do the introductions and see what wants to pop out of my mouth every time I do them. So thanks so much for rolling with me on that ride. Now, as it relates to right timing, we're just going to get straight into it. Right timing is a really interesting concept because as a new paradigm builder, those of us that are born to build the new or feel that call on our heart to create something different than what has been in our own unique way, whatever that looks like, tends to have more of a collective tone or theme to it, but it can be your own individual build as well. That's just a different route than what has been, what's always activated or been the way of how we do things in the collective. Is that a new paradigm builder also falls under the umbrella sometimes of maybe the pop psychology or new agey spiritual type of movement. Now, I'm all for the woo. I like grounded woo. I tend to be more grounded in my approach, but the woo is legit in some ways as well. And there's this concept out there around right timing that we make it, as in we can be the manipulators of time itself. There's this concept that we can bend time and manifest whatever we want to manifest whenever we want to manifest it. And if you just think this thought, or if you just know this code, this light code, then your whole reality can shift. And, I'm on the fence on that one. It's not that I haven't had the experience of that happening, and it really is just the tiniest pivot in consciousness that we can experience our reality in a completely different way. And when we do have that consciousness shift and are able to see new possibilities that didn't exist before, that is in many ways a way to, quote, bend reality or create right timing through our perception of what's happening. And as we perceive, we then receive in different ways. So it's not that that concept is completely inaccurate. There's some accuracy to it, but there's something more to life that goes beyond us, that falls under the category of right timing. For those of us that are born to build the new, we have like a larger collective spiritual field that we exist within. It's like in some ways we're more, I don't want to say, let's see, what do I want to say? We're in touch with our soul mission. We have this sense that what I'm doing is going to have collective impact, and that is important to me. It's this larger connection with life, connection with the collective, connection with our role in it. It's just we're operating from a different kind of framework. It isn't just the, sounds like fun, like I want to make a big system shift or what have you. And people that are just doing visions for their own personal lives can absolutely have a ripple effect impact. And so that can also be an example of a new paradigm builder. But there is something larger that we're tapped into consciously, and that is driving us. And in the acknowledgement of that, there's surrender and trust of the path, of the timing, of ourselves, of the people we're meant to build with. It's like we're operating in a different type of reality than the more mainstream narrative that we're a victim to time and we have no control over how things unfold, versus also the other side of the polarity where we're in charge of it all and we can just, manipulate it and bend it. And I don't know, to me that feels more like spiritual ego, and it just doesn't align with who I am. It doesn't feel, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it has as much integrity as I would prefer to experience in my own philosophical context. And so this concept of right timing is really about looking at your level of surrender to the path, to how life wants to move through you, how you allow for what you're being called to do to get expressed in maybe a different way than perhaps your ego initially thought it might. I know for myself that when I started feeling more connected with the paradigm shift and started to get a better understanding of my role within the paradigm shift, I really was attached to it unfolding in a certain way and in a certain time. And simultaneously as I had that attachment, everything went in the opposite direction. Like everything just started imploding. It's like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so clear and this feels so good and so right and exactly the direction I want to be headed in. And then it all just collapsed. And I was like, what is happening? I don't understand what is going on here. And so there was a deep surrender for me to kind of take my hands off the wheel. It's sort of the Jesus, just take the wheel here. You got to trust that there's this larger reason for everything unfolding in the way that it's unfolding. Because the thing is, even at your core, if you don't believe that there's a reason for things not clicking into place in the way that they are, or whatever it is, you trying to strangle the life out of it to make it move into a certain direction isn't really going to help you either, right? Or you being overcome with worry or fear or anxiety isn't really going to help you either. So there is this dance or this relationship that we have with life and with God and with the universe and with our mission, and where we have to cultivate our discernment to know, when do we step back here? When do we learn to stop pushing? When do we let go? And when do we tune in to how this wants to unfold. It's like we're such a goal-oriented, well, at least, maybe on the more Western world or American culture, to be more goal-oriented and to be more forceful about that, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, do it on your own, this kind of mentality. And for those of us that are born to build the new, we know that our build doesn't happen in isolation. It's not just by one individual person. It's a team effort. And we need to be clear enough within ourselves to know who would it be beneficial for us to connect with, to discern what is this the right time for me to actually be doing. Now, to go back to my example of watching everything, shrink, essentially, like everything that I was creating, my clarity skyrocketed. And at the same time, all the results that I would expect would happen because of that, they kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller on every level. And at the same time, my health took a massive, like, downward spiral experience. I mean, honestly, it was really challenging in so many ways. And I was so mad about it for quite some time, until I had a conversation with an astrologer, actually, looking through my charts, and said, look, no matter what you would have done, it's not, you didn't mess it up. You didn't do anything wrong. Your path, based on your design, said that no matter what you would have done, it would not have worked. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time. And while you're in the middle of, quote, not the right time, because the thing is, when it's not the right time for one thing, it's always the right time for something else. And so it's not that, it's funny how we think about the polarity of right and wrong, but just because the, quote, right timing isn't happening doesn't make you wrong, and it doesn't make it the wrong time. It just means that there's something else that's right in that moment. And for me, I had to learn that something else that was right in that moment, despite my clarity, despite my drive, despite my attachment, was that I really needed to learn how to deepen my trust, deepen my surrender, and also deepen my clarity, expand my clarity in a way that I hadn't yet done. And I wasn't able to get there before. Like, had my purpose work taken off in the way that I anticipated it would, I would have created something very, very different than where I am currently standing. And from where I am currently standing, and the clarity that has come through after such a breakdown, is so much more aligned than the direction I would have moved in before. And so there was a right timing element. And so if you're in a season of your life where things aren't clicking together in the way that you think they would, it doesn't mean that you're off the path. It doesn't mean that you're not meant to do what you're doing. It just might mean that something else, it's the right time for something else instead. Whether that's developing the quality of trust and surrender, whether it's simply stepping back and focusing on something different, whatever that is, that's up for you to unpack. But sometimes the way we make sense, the way we make meaning of our circumstances can really kind of distort the way that we think of time and our purpose and this right timing idea. And so loosen up, because as you do, you start to realize that right timing is always happening. It's just different than how we think it's supposed to be. And that doesn't mean that the timing needs to change. It means that our perspective needs to expand. Now, I can't leave this podcast without telling you this really cool story. I have a ton of cool stories about right timing. One of them I'll drop a link for. It's the infamous April 17th story. I won't go into the big details of that here, but this is where my husband and I moved to Europe. We sold everything, moved with our kiddo, our cat, suitcases, and moved over to Europe off an intuitive hit. And we heard the same date at the same time. And it just, there's a really cool story that goes with it. I'll link it in the description box so you can tune in and see what that story is about. But there's another story that I just thought was so cool in terms of right timing that I have to share it with you, because when you start to become open to the idea of right timing, one, you'll start to notice that it happens more frequently. And two, this synchronicity, these synchronistic events or connections start happening in ways that you would have never dreamed up. And I have one story that always stands out to me. I've many, I'll share them over time, but one of them that really kind of steered my life onto a very different trajectory is back when I was in college. I was at a turning point where I needed to decide whether I was going to stay at this university that I was at, which was San Diego State University, or if I was going to transfer to Chico. This is in California, Chico State University. And I was really, really torn up about it because I've always been a purpose seeker. Like, things need to have meaning for me and I need to be doing my purpose work. It's something that I've always been, just even as a kid, I'm like, I need to find out what I'm here to do. It is a big deal. And so making that decision at that time was, it was huge for me, and I absolutely could not come to a conclusion. Have you ever had that where you need to make a choice about something and you're like, I have no idea. I cannot hear my intuition. I do not know what's going on. Please help me. Somebody make it super, super clear. And so I sent out a prayer. I was walking around the San Diego State University campus, and it was the golden hour. It was when dusk was starting to set in. There wasn't too many people on the campus, especially where I was walking around. It was kind of on the, just a far away part of the campus. And I hadn't seen anybody, actually. I was walking through the outdoor halls of this one building, a building that I never, ever go to. I don't even know why I was over there, actually. But I sent out this prayer and I said, please, God, please make it so, so, so obvious what I need to choose here, because I'm feeling so confused and so stressed out, and I need you to really kind of wonk me over the head with this one. And I am not joking. Within less than 5 minutes of putting this prayer out, I'm walking through this building. I'm on the San Diego State University campus, where people tend to wear SDSU sweatshirts and, all the campus gear from whatever campus you're on. And I was trying to choose between San Diego and Chico. I turn a corner. There's one person that is walking towards my direction, close enough that I can see what they're wearing. They have a sweatshirt on that says Chico State University, which is the other school that I was considering going to. And I'm like, are you serious? That is so obvious. Out of all the people I could have seen, and there was nobody around. I'm never in this area. I literally said I need help between San Diego and Chico. I turn this corner and there it is. There's somebody wearing a Chico. I mean, how, right? What? Are you kidding? I mean, talk about right timing. And the thing is, I share this story because even though it's like, okay, that's not specific for like Born to Build the New people, Vanessa, or the paradigm shift or anything like that, but we get clues all the time about our lives, about our paths, our purpose work, the paradigm shift. What the heck is this reality anyway? We are getting clues all the time, but because we're so locked into perceiving things in a certain way, we don't see often what is literally right in front of us. I mean, if I hadn't put out that prayer, I don't even know if I would have noticed the person. But I had set this intention. I'm like, please, I am feeling so dumb right now. So dumb and indecisive. Like, make it so obvious for me what direction to choose. And I did. I ended up transferring and going to Chico State instead of San Diego. And it was a really, really good decision for me. So please, if you don't know where, like if you're in a season of your life where you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what direction to take. Say a prayer, set an intention, trust that you will be shown, and start looking around, because life literally will slap us up in the face with whatever the answer is that we need to pay attention to. And start to entertain the belief, the idea that we always exist in a field of right timing. Sometimes it reveals itself as this very magical way, like what I experienced in that story I just shared with you. And sometimes it is experienced as everything imploding and nothing coming together in the way that you wanted or thought it would. All of it is right timing. We don't have to manipulate reality to experience right timing. We don't have to pedestal ourselves and put up a spiritual ego around manifestation to experience right timing. It is always at play in our lives. It's always at play. And that's something so key to remember as a new paradigm builder. You aren't given a vision or a purpose or a mission or a seed or gifts to then have it be completely like unable to walk that path of building it. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't mean that everything is easy. But everything really is set up for you to have your own adventure at building whatever it is that you're here to build. And there is a right timing to it. So trust it. And start to explore how right timing has shown up in your life so far. I would love to hear. Do you have a cool story about synchronicity? Go to my website, vasmith.com. Click the contact button and just share it with me, because I would love to know. Honestly, I would love to create a collection of all of these stories of synchronicity. With that, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate your presence and your sharing, your subscribing to this podcast. And I will talk with you again soon in the next episode. Take care.